Now, second lecture, client and server scripts past paper questions. This is October November 19 P12. We will solve all questions latest to oldest order. In this particular question, you can see that there is a HTML form over here which is actually asking for a single value to be input in a text box, and there are two buttons. If you click first button, it will take this multiply function and triggers this. Here is multiply function, and if you press the second button, it will trigger this addition function over here. So um, a word about this document.getElementId. It actually returns a value from a text box or whatever the control that you write in it. So, and then it assigns that value to this particular variable. Let's say this variable which is being assigned the value is not there. Then what would happen if we use document.getElementById function? In that case, whatever the value that is being extracted will be shown on screen as is. So, question number 3, part A, name two identifiers used in JavaScript code. So we have got multiply, we have got addition, and we have got value 1. We have got three identifiers. Remember, identifier is not the variable's name, it is any name that you choose for anything. Part B, the number 9 is typed into text box 1. Write the value that is output after button 1 is pressed. So let's say we have entered 9 in this text box and the button number 1 is clicked over here. So it will call multiply. When we reach multiply, what actually happens that it extracts the value to the value 1. So value 1 will become 9. Over here it is increment, value plus plus. So 9 will become 10, and then the value 1 value 1's value, which is 10, then will be casted or converted to its integer equivalent once again over here. So 10 multiplied by 10 would become 100. So this is the answer. Now state the purpose of the code in line 14. Line 14 is actually value plus plus. This is increment. Increment means it will add 1 to the value of the variable. Now line number 20 is replaced with 20 alert value 1 plus value 1. Over here line number 20 is actually first casting a text value into its equivalent integer and then adding it. If you won't cast it, if you don't convert text into integer, it will become concatenation. So it will be treated as text. Question number the question number 6 from October November 19 P13. Willow is creating a website. So there we go. Again, same sort of question, but over here they are using JavaScript's built-in function math.floor, math.random. Uh, so name three functions in the JavaScript code. This is check answer, math floor, math random. These are the function. Other functions that we can explore is toString over here, which is converting a text to its an integer or number to its equivalent text. And then Identify every line number of the JavaScript code that generates an output. So at line 12, as I said, that if we use get element by ID and we don't assign it to any variable, whatever the value that will be extracted or made or generated will be output. Then we have got line 17 alert and line 19 alert. A3, identify the line number of JavaScript code that takes data the user has input and stores it in a variable. So over here document.getElementId is extracting the value from the answer text and assigning it to user answer. This is line number 14. Part 4, describe the purpose of the code on line 16. So line 16 says that this is line 16 over here. It says we have got one text box answer, variable answer. We convert that number to its string equivalent and then we compare it. These two equal to signs are actually comparison symbols. These are being compared with uh, another variable user answer in a selection statement. So this document will be available from the link in the description below. Part B, will you use function from the JavaScript program library in the web page? Describe the benefits to Willow of using program libraries to create the web page. This is actually subroutines topic. So it saves time as code is not required to be rewritten. It is already available. The code is already tested and it is bug free. Program size is small because most of the codes are already written. You don't have to rewrite them. Now this is October November 18 P11 question number 6. This is regarding PHP. Name two identifiers. So we have got identifier age over here. We have got identifier message. We have got these two identifiers, and then we have got allowed identifier over here as a function name as well. Now write the value assigned to message variable if the user types 30 in the text box. So if you pay attention to the function on line 14, what is exactly happening is the value which is given to the age is 30. So if age is less than or equal to 16, no. Else if age is greater than 30, no. It means that this part will be used. So message will be assigned value allowed. Explain the purpose of the code in line 18. So line 18 is whatever the value that will be assigned to message will be returned to the calling code. The PHP code in the web page uses server-side scripting. List the sequence of the events that take place when a user requests the web page containing PHP code. Browser requests the web page from the web server. Web server fetches the required page from the storage. Web server executes the PHP code in the page. Web server creates the resulting HTML page from the calling browser. So what actually happens that when the result is deduced, all the things are found, the file is fetched, the database is seen, then remember that the browser cannot just show the text or the data which is being fetched or returned. Browser requires whole HTML code even to show that data which is actually fetched or produced by the processing of PHP or other scripts. So what happens that when the data from the database or other files is produced, an HTML page is created around that data, and whole HTML page plus the data inside it is sent to the browser. Then web server returns the newly created HTML page back to the client computer or browser, and then browser shows it. Next question is from May June 18 P12, question number 6. A web page includes following HTML and JavaScript code. Give the identifier of two variables used in the JavaScript. We have got calculate grade, we have got mark, we have got grade. Give the line number where the JavaScript code produces an output. So we have got this alert. This will output at line 25. Describe the purpose of statements on line 11. In line 11, this document.getElements is fetching a value from the mark field and assigning it to the mark variable. Then we have got D. State whether the JavaScript code will run client side or server side. So in our syllabus it says that JavaScript on client side. Explain the difference between client side scripting and server side scripting. Client side is executed in the browser of the client after receiving the code from the server. Server side is run on the server when requested, and processed data is sent back to the client. Next question. This question is from May June 18 P13, question number 1. This is again PHP question. Two identifiers that we need to tell. We have got calculate grade, we have got grade character, and we have got calculate grade, grade character, and input mark over here. Give the line number where PHP code produces an output. So this is echo command at line number 3. There we go. Describe the purpose of the expression and $_get mark. $_get mark. This is an associative array which holds all the values, and those values are fetched by their name rather than indexes. An associative array that gets the value user entered in the text box name mark and sends the value to the calculate grade as parameter over here. It is actually calling calculate grade, fetching the value. State whether PHP code will run client side or server side. So it works on server side. Question number 7, May June 17 P11. It says the design of the web-based application can require the use of client-server scripting. Describe what is meant by client-server scripting. Client side is executed in the browser of the client, receiving the code from the server. One more thing that you can add is interpretation happens inside the browser. All the code which is being sent by the server, if it is client-side code, it will be executed by the browser by interpretation. A user requests a web page by keying in the uniform resource locator into the address bar of their browser. So this is a question which is common between URL and this topic. The requested page contains a client-side script. Describe the sequence of the steps leading to the display of the web page on the computer. So browser finds the domain name of the URL. From the URL, it actually parse it. It reads it. It makes part of it, and then it will extract the domain name. Like in www.zakonweb.com/abc/file1.html, this zakonweb.com is actually the domain name. Name is sent to the ISP's domain name server. Domain name server finds the corresponding IP address. As we know that domain name servers keep the IP addresses of all of the domains in the world. In case if that particular ISP's DNS does not have the IP address, then it asks one high level DNS of another IP or somewhere else, and when it gets the data back, it sends the IP address back to the browser. Browser now requests the web page from the web server at that IP address. Web server finds the page and executes its code if it is in PHP, and returns it to browser the data which it has concluded, and then browser interprets the page, and if there is an script on that page, that script will be executed and results will be shown on the browser. Part C, it says that a web page uses the data captured consists of two text boxes, um, two text boxes for the entry of product code, the number of items to be purchased, a button which is clicked when the user wants to submit the um, this order. Now, as you can see that this form has got a label, product code. There we go. Here is the label, and then it has got a text box by the name text product code. Here we go. And then it has got another label, number. There we go. And then it has another input text box by the name txt number. There we go. And then it has got a label submit order, and then we have got a button that says submit, and the name is btn submit over here. Now when the button is pressed, a function is triggered by the name my button underscore on mouse down, and there is this function. Now when the button is pressed, this function fetches the data in message 1 and message 2. This var is actually the declaration of the variable. So in this particular line, line number 8, a variable is being declared and a value is being given to that variable. Remember, in JavaScript, when we declare the variable, we don't mention its type. System decides its type by looking into the data which is being assigned. So the data over here is text, so the type of the variable message1 will be text. Variable x, so the data is being fetched from the txt product code, and it is being assigned to x. If x is equal to null, then alert. This is an output alert message. This is alert message that gives it message 1 or 2, whatever the values that are decided over here, and that is how the whole thing is working. Actually it is a presence check. The data has to be there, so this is actually validation. Validation is happening in here. This is validation part. So one, the developer has used 3 variables in the JavaScript code. We can see that this is message 1, message 2, and x. The button has an event whose identifier is on mouse down. When the submit button is clicked, some code is executed. State the line number that contains this code. This is from line number 6 to line number function ends over here, so line number 19. So line number 6 to line number 19, we have got the function code. The JavaScript code uses the selection statement. So selection statement means if, and if is at line 11. Describe the purpose of validation check. It is a presence check on the product code. I already described it. Now, this is October November 17 P12. Uh, a diagram shows three items of the software that translates program. Draw one line from each. So I had no intention to discuss assemblers and compilers and all. I just took this question because it shows that a web page contains some JavaScript. So as I told you that the JavaScript is on client side and client side is always interpreted. Now this is October, no, May June 17 P12, question number 6. Downloading a file from the website is an example of the client server application. Describe what is meant by the term client server. File is saved on the web server. Browser is client in the desktop computer. Client browser requests the file from the web server. Web server returns the file to the client on the request. That is what is happening over here in terms of client and server. The following sequence of steps 1 to 5 describes what happens when someone uses their personal computer PC to request a web page. The web page consists of HTML tags and the text only. Four of the statements from A, B, C, D, E, F are used to complete the sequence. So it says that the user key in the URL into the browser software. Afterwards, the domain name uses the DNS server uses the domain name to find the IP, and then the web server retrieves the page. The web server is present at that IP. Then we have got the web server sends the web page content back to the browser, and then browser software renders the page and displays it. Again, same sort of question which we just observed, same here in another variation of the paper. Over here it is actually checking if the substring 0 to 3. It means that whatever the value that is being input over here in this text runner ID thing, is it starting with these three letters VAR, or it is starting with these three letters CAM. So it is a validation that is actually checking whether the entered text is starting with VAR or CAM. So there are three identifiers that we can easily see over here in the code. That is runner ID, output 1, output 2. The button has an event. It is starting from line 6 and going up till line 21. The JavaScript code uses a selection statement. Selection statement, you can see that it is at line 13 over here. Describe the purpose of the validation check. It checks whether the runner ID entered starts with CAM or VAR. MJ 17P13 question 7. Oh, we have already discussed this question in the other variant of the same year. So this is same sort of question. Nothing new in here. Let's skip. Yes, over here. This is October November 15 P11 question number 7. Describe what is meant by client server model. We have already discussed it in another paper. Part 2 is give 2 benefits using the client server model. All the resources are centralized. Security based access to the resources. It means that those people who have a username and password, they will be getting their data as per the level of data authorization is there. And maintenance is centralized, and 24 7 availability of the data, etc. These are the benefits of client server model. The diagram shows a computer network. Obviously, this is a client, this is another client, this is a file server, this is a mail server, this is internet. So this should be the router. So name the hardware device labeled X. Now part C, a web page offers a link for users to request another web page. You can observe that how many times this question of sequence of events when the client requires some data from the server appears. So you need to be very good with this. This is a very common question. So it says a web page offers a link for user to request another web page. The request web page contains HTML code and JavaScript code. Put each statement in correct order. So the user clicks on the hyperlink and the web page is requested from the server. The web server locates the requested web page. The requested web page content is transmitted to the client computer. The client computer processes the JavaScript code, executes it using the web browser software, and the requested web page is displayed on the client computer. Then we have got this question from ON15P12. Question number 7. We can see that code starts at line 7, goes until line 16, the scripting, and it is actually giving a prompt and gaining data in the group size, and then it is describing a variable, declaring a variable group price. Whatever the group size that is entered is multiplied by 20 over here, and the value is being assigned to the group price. Means if it is a ticket, amusement park ticket, whatever the number of groups, every person is being charged 20 rupees or dollars or pounds, whatever. And then there is a check. If group size is greater than 4, then they are given 20% discount. And then there is a pop-up alert which is actually telling about the price and concatenation over here. Remember, this is concatenation. Concatenation means two string variables are being merged. And then there is another alert when person enters OK. Another alert appears that thank you for your inquiry. Now give the range of line numbers in the web page script that are JavaScript. That is, we can see from line 7 to 16 or 8 to 15, whatever that you like to put. Give the identifiers, group size and group price. We have checked it over here. And then give the range of the line numbers where selection is performed. Selection, I told you that this is if, and this if is ending over here. This is 10 to 13. Explain the use of prompt. It outputs a prompt for the user in a pop-up and returns the value to the variable whatever the user enters. So this is actually an input pop-up. The var keyword. The var keyword over here, I told you that this declares a variable, a local variable. Alright. So that's about it. All the questions which appeared ever since the start of this syllabus are discussed. So if there are any other questions that you need to ask, go ahead and ask in your respective groups or in the post this video's comments below. So thank you very much. This document is, I'm also uploading this document, and the link will be available from the description of the post. Take care.